Hello, everyone. Today we are checking out the Emake Galaxy 1, or should I say Emake3d. Welcome to the stream. We're going to let a couple minutes fly by here, and I'm just going to kind of chat with you guys and let everybody come in here. Right now I see we got about 16 people showing up here, so we'll give about 4 minutes to get this rocking and rolling, and we'll get it all set up. So the biggest thing that is going to be my challenge for the night is basically I'm going to move the Sonic Mini 8K and the Anycubic M3 Max. I'm going to have to move those two to put that there, and that's going to be fun. So can't wait. But anyway, so I have some resin here, and I also have some SDS sheets. Whether or not you guys want to hear about that, that's completely up to you. Hello, hello. Of course, everything is going to be a problem I see today. So let's see. Let's go to the group. Let's make sure that everything is working the way that it's intended to. There we go. George White. What's up, buddy? What's up, non-fam? How's it going? Don't forget to share this out to the lovely people. Should we go live on TikTok? Sure, or why not? We'll go live on TikTok, too. We'll set it up right quick. Works good here. Good. Well, what I mean by working is sometimes the Facebook streaming links don't exactly team up with each other. It seemed like they fixed it the last time, but I'm not 100% sure on that. All right. Doing fine, and you? I'm doing very good, sir. How are you? Yo, what's up, Mr. Reyes? How goes it, sir? Let's take a look and make sure that my personal page is going through here. Okay, so that's going through. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, we'll give it about 1 more minute, and then we'll just kind of dive into it. I am live on TikTok as well, yes. I just booted it up. Well, thank you very much for believing in me. That's what I do this stuff for. How do I like the M3 Max so far? Well, the M3 Max has been kind of so-so. First 50 hours, I broke the screen. Then I had some issues where it was popping. So I had to basically dismantle the entire carriage, I guess you could call it. And I don't know how I fixed it, but I fixed it. So it's back up and running perfectly fine. Has a brand new Bullet brand screen protector because it punctured the FEP. So everything's all good. It's brand new. It's cleaned up. Good to go. So I haven't really printed on it in about a week since I got everything back. So, but yeah, we'll have to see how this new printer will do. So I hate mine recently. Your TikTok seems to be a trend lately with TikTok. So, all right. So without further ado, let's kind of get into this. But first, let's give you guys a little closer view, shall we? There we go. That's better. That's mucho gusto. Muy bien. So first and foremost, I wanted to keep these kind of boxed up, but I already know what these are. Obviously, these are going to be bottles of resin that they sent me. Now, if anybody knows anything about the resin industry, I tend to get a little bit into the industry in terms of 3D printing, so I know all of the behind the scenes. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and my whole thoughts on Emake as a company and everything. So to kind of put some things to rest. Oh, you know what? Before I do any of that, let's get this all set up here. What's up, Brody? How's it going? Let me share this out to. Oh, how do we do this? You change some settings here. Settings? No. The G-Tech A10 I won from you is still rocking and rolling. I absolutely blown away, but I will tell you that is a solid machine. I absolutely loved that I went away from all of my Ender 3s at the time to the G-Tech A10 because it was just a far superior printer. Now there's just even more superior printers out there. So I hate mine recently, the M3 Max. Gotcha. Aloha from Hawaii. I'm probably going to butcher this, but Hakaliki? I think, yeah, I don't know. I just work here. Ooh, toys. Yeah, sorry. So I'm getting sidetracked here. I need to share this to the Galaxy One group so everybody has it and gets it up there. What's up, Orange Joe? How's it going? We are multi-streaming. So we are live on TikTok. We are live on Twitter. We are live on Twitch. We are live on Facebook. My personal page, Facebook Kuma Mods page, as well as the 3D Printing for Noobs group. And then, of course, the YouTubes. So, with that being said, let's share this out and get this all set up. Why won't you let me share? What is the deal here? What's the dealio? What's the deal? Share screen? No. So they don't have a share anymore? I swore they had a share. Mr. Popular. I'm head of the class. I'm popular. It's going to be very hard keeping up with chat, so my apologies in advance. I do not have a moderator, although I should probably start getting one. Where's the mama-rator when I need her? Let's see. Ooh, Joyce. There we go. So let's go ahead and copy the link. We are live. Sorry, give me a quick second here. Akuma needs a Vanna White. Do. Man, you were so still. I thought you were froze. Well, you just need to let it go. Let it go. Okay, where did my post go? Oh, it needs to be approved. Because of the group. Dang it. Is this working? Nope, it's definitely not working. It never works. What's up, Ben? So you're only streaming on 29 different accounts on 14 different platforms? Absolutely. It's been 10 minutes already. Sorry, I was sharing some things out. So I wanted to talk a little bit about specifically this resin. This is the Emake3d ABS-like resin. Now, some of you may or may not realize that this bottle looks very similar to a lot of the bottles that you see on the market. Anycubic, Epax 3D, who else? Elegoo. A whole bunch of people use these brown style bottles. Now, I know what I'm going to say. You're probably going to say, yeah, but anybody can do that. But you got to understand manufacturing in China. They do things very cut and dry. They don't loan things out and other people do things. In China manufacturing, there's basically a handful of people who develop filament and then they rebrand them under different names. The same thing goes for resin. And I kind of already knew who made this resin, but the SDS sheets that they provided with me pretty much automatically confirmed that. But I already knew that. So while this is an Emake3d ABS-like resin, this is actually manufactured and produced by Jamhe. That's Jamghe, Jamhe, or Jamhe. I don't exactly know how to say it, but it's something along those lines. Yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that they make that. So he doesn't need a moderator. He needs a Ben to keep him focused. Yeah, right. That'll be the day. Look over his head. There are 10 other brands, all the same style bottles. No, there are different ones. There's quite a lot up there. But like, here's an Elegoo bottle. It's literally the same thing. This is a bottle that I haven't used yet. And you guys may have seen this resin around, but essentially it is the same style bottle, as you can see. And yeah, it's even got the same markings on it and everything. So yeah, pretty much all the same companies. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to cracking this big boy open and seeing what's inside. First, we got to move these bottles of resin up and out of the way. And let's get to it. Pretty simple. Okay. Top comes off pretty easily. You mind your fingers, because you can slice them open pretty easily. Now we do have the foam that's on the top here. You guys may or may not have seen Uncle Jesse's video already about him trying to unbox this thing. All right, and there's the printer. Now the thing is, we got to try and get the face open here so we can get it out. I know nothing about my first time here watching a Resin 3D printer live feed or even a video. Well, welcome. I do these quite often, so if you guys need more reference points, I may not be the greatest in terms of audio and visual type setup, but hey, I do my best, and that's all I care about. So anyway. I did kind of pre-prep this because it looks like these are tabs on the side here. There is 3 on each side, and it should be that we can kind of pull these off. So I think, but I might have to grab a pair of pliers to help me with that. So let's see. Nope, that's too much in the way. Back. Just check chat really quick. 45 minutes is the over-under. My money is on over. It's the Emake Galaxy 1. Yes, it is. Let's take this off so I don't destroy my watch. Thought it was going to come off a little bit easier, but that's fine. Evidently not. I wish I had my gloves on me on hand. That would there we go. Oh, perfect. And I did it right. This is the front of the machine. I didn't even notice. I was hoping that was. All right. There she is. All right. Stream's done. Thanks, guys. Let's see. More on the bottom there. So there's 3 tabs on each side, and then there's a tab, 3 tabs on the bottom as well. Or maybe there's 2 tabs. We're gonna be breaking the law, breaking the law. So as you can see, it's not terrible. It's all right. Is keeping the box part of the warranty? Haha, very funny. I really don't know, and I really hope not. So he should be wearing the apron. It's kind of hung up there. But anyway, let's try and maneuver this thing out of here. If I can. We're just gonna handle it as is. IO silver. Nope, that didn't work. The whole box came with me. Something's getting caught on it. So yes, I do suggest having 2 people utilizing this because this is a ginormous printer, and we'll do a comparison of the Sonic Mega, which that's already a pretty big printer to deal with. This one's even bigger than it, I can tell already. I mean, obviously it is because of the build volume, but still. All right, not too bad. And it's perfect timing because, you know what? Tomorrow's garbage day. So, see ya. Definitely not keeping that. Don't care if I need a warranty for it. If it needs to be fixed, I know how to do that. So, let's go ahead and turn off the Logitech, or should we keep that on? Yeah, I think we'll keep that on. I can just kind of maneuver it a little bit for you guys. All right. So, very, very nice packaging job. I wish they had some more cushion on the front screen here. Well, the front window. They did do cushioning on the actual touch screen, which is it's a nice touch. So let's see here. That up out of here. This thing has some massive feet. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to really print with this. I have to see. I really should have moved those 2 printers last night. Whatever. It is what it is. And there we go. All done. Why am I not seeing the others chat? Are you on YouTube? Also, I am on Facebook Live. I am everywhere. Yes. So I am on YouTube. I am on Twitch. I am on Twitter. I am on Facebook. I am on YouTube. And we are on TikTok as well. So anyway. That's pretty much all it is right there. know. Such an eventful stream. Impatient person. And people keep messaging me. I don't know why. I thought you were playing Call of Duty. No. I mean, I can, but that'll be for later. Okay. Checking our messages here. What's up, Bendu? I think the full retail is $24.99. We will get to prices and everything in a second here once we get this all set up and ready to go. Now, this is one nice thing that I wish a lot of places that use acrylic have is some overlapping, because I have a quirk about me that I have to have very short nails, so I tend to chew on my nails quite a bit. And trying to get something off that is precisely cut with this stuff on it sucks. Whereas this is nicely overdone. Should have gotten up close to that ASMR, dang it. Twitch says Call of Duty? Whoops. Oh, you know what? It was probably when I connected my Call of Duty to my Twitch account like 2 weeks ago. All right, so very nicely packed foam. I'm sure there's a build plate somewhere in here. Hopefully this comes out all in one piece, because trying to get this out is going to be a royal pain, if not. So let's see if we can try and get this down. Okay, I guess we're doing it tier by tier. Oh, there's all our stuff. So what do we got? So we have some FET film. I would hope that this is PFA film, or what's called NFEP. I would hope to guess that that's what this is. This side faced to light source, which is kind of cool. It tells you inside the tube there which side you need to face this. So I wonder if it's like the M3 Max, actually, and it has a frosted FEP on it. I'm curious. We have a bag of gloves, which, I'll be honest, I'll use these up as quickly as I possibly can, because these are absolute trash. And if you guys do want some really awesome gloves, do highly check out our sponsor for Venom Steel Gloves. They are the best in the world. I absolutely love those things. They do not puncture in any way, shape, or form. For those who do resin 3D printing, you guys know that removing supports always punctures those blue gloves, as well as if you are printing something that has very sharp edges, it will definitely puncture those. We have a handful of funnels that I'll definitely use up really quickly. I have a metal funnel that basically is easily cleanable. We have a 2 terabyte USB stick. Windows 10 Smart Quickly. So I'm not sure why that's like that, but all right. We have some of the screws, most likely for the VAT. I'm not a big fan of these. If that's the case, we'll have to see. Let's throw this over here. We have a pretty beefy power cord. That's actually really, really nice. So this is 300 volts, 16 gauge. So pretty beefy, not bad. Ooh, this is nice. We have our typical blue-handled side cutters. These are actually the nicer ones, but still, I have my own ones. We have some extra screws. These might be VAT screws. Not sure what extra screws these are, but I'm sure we'll find out. Some more extra screws. Looks like a mixture of VAT-style screws. We have an SD card. Oh my god. Is this actually an official SanDisk SD card? No. Holy cow. It is an official 32 gig SanDisk. Now, is it really official, or is it official? We shall find out here on the next episode of Is This a Real SD Card? Our typical Allen screws. The best scraper I have ever used for Resin 3D printing stuff they provided with this printer. So I did a review of an EPAX, what was it, an E10, and it came with a spatula like this, and it is by far the best spatula I have ever personally used for resin printing. It is super thin, and it has just the right angle to get into every crevice. It is, like I said, the best. So I am happy to see that. We have our typical plastic spatula and a little workaround bin, which is kind of useless considering the size of this printer, but good thought, I guess. We'll give them an A for effort. All right. Let's see how are we going to get this out. Oh my god. This is very well packed in here. I see a build plate. So very, very, very good packing job on this. This stuff isn't going anywhere. It's not going nowhere. And yes, it is a solid plate, not perforated, for all of you who absolutely despise the Frozen Sonic Mega's perforated plate. And again, we'll talk more about this plate and some other things, as well as, you know, what I kind of touched on with this spatula here, about this printer and the company and whatnot. So we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, so we do have our VAT here. What is that? Okay. So yes, it is kind of a semi. Whoa, that is a different FET film. This is like the Nexa 3D stuff. This is like a membrane. This isn't a FET film. It's very different. It's you guys know those sticky hands that you used to get out of quarter machines? You guys ever had those before? It kind of feels like that texture, like rubber. Like almost like a drum. I mean, it sounds like a drum. All right, I'm done being dumb. All right, let's get this all out. Get that all out. And there we have it. We have the entire setup over there. Let's get my air duster because there's some stuff in there. Sorry for the loud noises. I'm pre-warning all of you that loud noises. All right. So yeah, basically what this is this is an SLA style resin printer. So while most of you guys know the MSLA style resin printers, which is a masking stereolithography, that essentially means it has a screen that projects a basic squared image, essentially, pixelated image, And it's usually black and white nowadays. Back in the day, it used to be RGB screens. This one is definitely different. This is actually true SLA. So this actually uses a laser light module. So instead of you projecting a singular image onto the bottom of the FEP or the screen, which is the glass in this case, this one actually draws it. So it is more FDM-like than it is resin printing. It is faster still than FDM, at least to my understanding, but it does provide a far superior bonding process than the typical MSLA. So that's why you usually see companies like Formlabs that have higher end style resins, and that's why their resins are usually much more expensive, because those type of resins require a different type of curing process, so a little bit slower, but still really, really nice to have that feature. So this is definitely way different than what most people deal with. Now there is a heater on this, which is right here in the middle, with a temp gauge, so you can set it at whatever you want. We'll fiddle around with that in a little bit. And then there also is a air filtration system with an active carbon filter in it. Now we'll look more into that just to make sure if it actually is an active carbon filtration system. And if it isn't, we'll definitely take care of that. That's no problem. We can always add our own filtration system to it. But either way, I usually don't need the active carbon filtration system, because right behind the rack here, I have about a 3.5 foot tall tower fan that is specifically designed for air filtration, and it has a carbon filter on it. And that pretty much does everything it needs to for basic resins. Now, if I use higher end resin, I definitely will have to add a secondary one, just because those are usually very smelly, and just the adhesions that they use in those are vastly different. So, all right, let's take a quick 5 here and just take a look at chat and kind of go it is. Yes, so it is a little bit slower of printing, but not by much. We will be checking out the settings on that to see if we can try and crank it up, because, like, here for you guys, the Mega right here, in its stock form at a 400 millimeter build volume, a full-size print is going to take 64 hours. With my settings, it takes around 21 hours. And that's really pushing the maximum limit of the printer while still maintaining the similar quality. I'm not saying it's the same, but it's very close. Pretty much to the naked eye, it's the same. But if you had a macro lens, you would probably see the difference. But either way, it's good enough for printing on a normal basis, and I'm happy with it. So we will end up tweaking some things and checking this out and see if we can do the same. So I thought it was significantly slower. Yes, it kind of is, but again, we will take a look at that and see. That's Duty calling them right now. I think full retail is $24.99. Yeah, I think that is, but right now Kickstarter is at, I think all said and done, is around $1,600, which is about half of the price of the Frozen Sonic Mega. So you gotta take some or leave some with what you want. So, but yeah, we're definitely gonna put it through its paces, and we're gonna throw on some cool prints. I have one print specifically that we are going to print right away on this. And it's pretty much going to be a full build plate. So I'm going to load up everything. We're going to check everything on the system and see how we can actually print with this. Because unlike all the other resin printers, this actually utilizes micro SD cards, which I'm not a huge fan of. But that's kind of nifty, because I have a wireless micro, or TF card, they call them. TF card, that's essentially what it is, a wireless TF card. It doesn't work the greatest, but if you're loading files onto it and then printing with it, it works okay. But if you're trying to print while loading it, it doesn't really work all that well. And it's still kind of rocky because it's an earlier model. So have they even figured out shipping yet? Yes, they have. I've heard several times that they are going to be charging around $300 for shipping. That may go up or down. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what they're telling everybody in terms of shipping. Now, in full transparency, I am the only one, and yes, I know this is going to sound like me whining, but it is what it is. I am the only one that had to pay for my unit. So I'm a little pissed off, to be all honest. But hey, it is what it is. It was $1,000 out the door for my unit. And again, even though Uncle Jesse is the other secondary tester, I was the only one to pay for it. And I understand I am not as big as some of the other content creators, except for pretty much all but one of the first batch people. But anyway, I'm getting off topic, and I can go into a rant about that. We'll leave it as is. So let's go ahead and put this vat back on. And just wanted to let you guys know that you'll see that there is a clear acrylic piece right here that basically is the laser system for the automatic refill. So there is a little tab right in the back there that you can adjust the resin settings on and get it all set up. All right, so where's those screws that come out here? Let's go ahead and put this on.
Do me a favor when that stuff's done. I bought a bunch of new diapers. What the hell they want?
Yeah.
She refused to take them because they don't smell or whatever. So if you can start them, then.
Wireless TF cards require the firmware to use SPI tool, but most firmware use SDIO protocol. So if it's SDIO protocol, a wireless TF card will not work. Very good to know. I am not that tech savvy, so thank you for that inside information that literally goes right over my head. But I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah, it basically won't work. So what's up, Wandering Wastelander? How's it going? And yes, we are live on multiple platforms. We're on Twitch, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, and we're on Facebook. All right. So we have 2, 4, 6. So something tells me that this is not for the vat, but it is for the vat. And unfortunately, they didn't include any instructions, but there probably is digital instructions, which they had said that, yeah, we're good to go on that. So I can already tell you one thing that everybody's going to hate is these little knobs. And the reason why these are not very good is the fact that when you remove one of these knobs, they can easily fall into the vat. And I can't tell you how many times I've done that with other printers, and I absolutely can't stand it. But there is a workaround on that. And maybe we'll do a upgrade, and we'll open up the printer and see if we can do some minor upgrades and see if maybe we can let the Emake team know that, hey, you know, this is a good idea, but maybe a slight revision on this part would be best. Okay, so we have 2 left, and that's probably why they added 2 extra ones. Again, I'm just guessing that this is it. So, all right. So for those who, and of course, I have my, so we're going to turn off the Logitech now because I have to use that port to check out this SD card and see how it goes. Will you be using a test print file to calibrate the resin, or will you be using? So really, I should be utilizing the calibration print that I normally do. Yeah, we'll have to take a look and see what they provide on here to go off of it. All right, let's see what we got here. We have SLA Simple Instruction Manual. Okay. So we have power. We have the knobs. We have the vat, the screws. Resin bottles. That's right. So I got to figure out a place that I can have access to this door, or just keep the door completely open or unhinge it some way. Is there actually a key lock? Wow. Fancy. Now, I thought that they had a dual pump setup, but I guess it's a singular pump. Either way, it's okay. Not the end of the world. So a very similar system to the M3 Max. Jesus. Sorry. That's what I get for eating on stream. But that's where the bottles of resin go. Okay. So I see air filtration in here, but where does it vent out to? Because the air filtration is like here on the printer in the back. So just very strange. Either way, we'll see. I'll be completely honest with the M3 Max. I don't really utilize that, but since this is such a ginormous printer and the vat is so much bigger than the M3 Max, we will probably most likely be using the pump system to get it to work. So, all right, let's see here. I do have a power cord, so we can turn this bad boy on. And does it work? Question is the cord plugged in? It does work. So it says SD card error. So does it require me to put in the SD card? That is the million-dollar question. Okay, so we're going to turn this off. Turn this all the way off. Let's take that SD card that I just put in here. Now, does it use a full or does it use the micro? It uses the full. Awesome. Okay, so I put the SD card in, and it automatically starts utilizing everything. Now, it looks like the temperature is set at 28 degrees Celsius, which I can't math in my head, so Celsius to Fahrenheit. I want to say that's like 68. 82? Holy cow, dude. That is way too hot. That is cooking. Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi. No, there is no Wi-Fi. Really, you don't want Wi-Fi in printing. At least not Wi-Fi over printing. Now, if you do Wi-Fi transferring, that's okay. But again, you still have the issue of data being misplaced somewhere in the transfer. So it is not the best to have that, in my opinion. I personally don't like Wi-Fi printing because of that. Because there's so much that can go wrong. And I've seen it a million times with people that have Raspberry Pis. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people have issues with a print, and it turns out that it was their Raspberry Pi. Now, granted, it's usually a bad memory card or just a bad cable or just their Wi-Fi is absolute trash, whatever it may be. It's usually something of the sort like that. But it's just the fact that I usually replace all of my USB drives and SD cards with SanDisk, and that's pretty much been unstoppable so far. Knock on wood. So yeah, let's turn this down. What's a good temperature? Let's see here. I want to set this at like 68. Yeah, 20 degrees Celsius. That's much better. Whoa, too far. All right, so I basically set it to 21 degrees Celsius, which is 69 degrees. So let's see, 70, 21.1. Here, let's set it to 70. So it's set at 21.1, which is essentially 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's very easy to change that. All you have to do is just hit the set. It'll change the light from green to red, and then it'll start blinking. And you just go ahead and choose whatever you want, temperature range. Now, setting it at 28 degrees, that is insanely hot. So that makes me think that if you guys saw Joel's latest post of the Millennium Falcon on this this machine, and he had some major Z banding issues. So one of the things that automatically came to mind is when Uniformation launched their GK2, now my printer didn't have this issue, but I guess some of the production models did, where people were having weird anomalies with their prints. And it turned out that it was the heater just overheating, essentially, the resin, because it was in an ambient area. Now, resin is usually pretty good as long as you keep it within that 70-degree range. Anything above that is going to require some sort of specialty resin, a very, very high-end resin. Like I'm talking about like $200 bottle of resin. So it's very rare that you will need to go up to temperatures that high. I think I have one resin in my arsenal that requires something of that type of temperature. And even then, you can still print it okay at 70 degrees. So yeah. Let's see here. Trying to decide when I get a resin printer is I need to just save up and go bigger. Well, this is pretty big, but however, this is a vastly different machine than any of the other ones that you guys see me work with, because it is an SLA printer, not an MSLA printer. One thing I wanted to do really quick is take some quick measurements. Now, I know the measurements are online and they say blah, 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 but I want to double check. So essentially it's 32 millimeters tall, 28 millimeters long, and 17 and a half wide. So one of my problems was, do I have to adjust my shelf? And yes, I will definitely need to adjust my shelf or get smaller feet, because my shelf is only 28 millimeters or 28 inches. It's 30 inches, so it's 2 inches short. So essentially take off the top. Yeah. That's going to be fun. So that means I got to disassemble this entire rack and redo it. That's not fun. Centimeters, bro. Yeah, I'm not that smart. Sorry. I use freedom points here. All right, so let's see what's on this USB drive, if there is anything. I highly doubt it. I don't know why. Oh, never mind. It's not a USB drive. It is a an adapter, which I already have one. So I don't need it. All right. So now here's the funny thing. I specifically asked them last night, hey, I'm going to do an unboxing of this, and I need to start a print. Will I have the ability to start a print? And they said, yeah. But I didn't take into account that I wanted to start my own print. So I need software for this, which I don't have. I mean, I have Shi2Box, but the Shi2Box I have does not have this printer on it. At least I don't believe so. So now we have to go and check our we gotta check. Oh, where are you? Our conversations with them to see what they said, because I was half asleep when I was reading it yesterday. Let's see. They were just asking about show plan, and for the slicer, I think you can use Shi2Box license, which I don't need. All right. So the question is, okay, so we're going to do some testing here. And we're definitely going to get a screen protector for that. For a second there, I thought I shut down the entire stream. I was going to be like, no! Which is better, MSLA or SLA? Really depends on the on what you're printing. MSLA is going to be cheaper and quicker, but the resins that you have are just kind of, they're okay. Whereas SLA has the possibility to print a whole slew of things really crazy and with less supports. But again, you need specific type of resins, which nowadays resins are usually developed to be DLP, SLA, and MSLA equivalent, or they call it LCD. So, yeah. Now, with that being said, the reason why I'm wearing some sweet 3D RS swag here is because after I am done tinkering with this, and hopefully before these units are getting shipped out, we are going to send this unit to our friends over at 3D Resin Solutions to develop a specific brand of resin for this machine. Now, we will just be loaning it out to them for the time being to do some research on, and hopefully we will get it back. But yeah, that's why they sent me some cool swag. Not only that, I have worked with them in the past because they are a local company to me, and they are really, really nice to work with. Probably one of the best resins I have ever used. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, they're basically doing some cool stuff with me and this printer. It's just the fact that if you look previously, I've worked with them several times. In fact, I have some 3DRS 8K resin right here that I have on one of the machines that I've been needing to do a review on. So anyway. And yes, no, I'm all out of Mexican Cokes. Actually, that's not true. I have one Mexican Coke, and I'm saving it for my late night live stream on TikTok here. So it would be cool if they reverse engineer and clone it just better. Oh, wait. So we'll get to something like that. Anyway. So we're going to go ahead and try out the laser, and basically it's let's see here. So we have our print controls, parameter settings, and machine regulation, which these are very, very nice setups. So we have our prints that are all here, system volume information, directory, tail long, blah, blah, blah. Those are all the prints that are already on there. We have our parameter settings. So we have power adjustment, Z-axis demolding. So that's essentially peel force or peel away. Scan times, that's essentially how many times it's going to scan per layer. This is your equivalent to transition layer, I believe. Demolding distance, again, that's going to be how far you want it to go up. Let's see, bottom layer count, so that's the same as MSLA. Bottom layer scan, again, that's your transition bottom layer, which that is insanely high on that. Transition layer count, that's the transitions and the transition layer scan. Then we have next page, previous page. Let's go to next page. Z-axis transmission. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but we'll take a look. Z-axis speed, whatever that translates to. Spot adjustments, 100 layers demolding, and Z supplements. So we'll have to see what that is. Machine regulation. So we're going to go ahead and test our laser. If I can. Will it let me? No. Oh, you know what? Nope. Not sure why it won't let me test the laser. Z-axis down. So that works. Nope. I'm not sure why it won't let me do that. I'll have to take a look and see, or just ask them. What's up, Retro Modern? How's it going? Mr. Travis, how is it? Has a chance to close look, maybe? Soft patience. Can we have a clearer view? Closer view. There we go. All right. So why is this? Oh, because I don't have this attached. It's okay. I know what I'm doing. I swear. I'm a professional. It wouldn't be a stream without me. Oh, we might have to go into OBS now and change some things around because I was a little bit special. There we go. Okay, so you guys wanted up close view. There's your screen, and it is a very nice screen. This is like a 7-inch tablet, essentially. Very, very quick, very responsive. As I say that, and where it doesn't. So it is very nice, but this is going to be a fingerprint magnet with resin and whatnot. So I'm not sure why it won't let me do that, but this does. These menus do work. Which I really wish that they had a parameter feature of, okay, you can move it down 100 millimeters, 200 millimeters, whatever it may be. Unlike, everybody else that has that. This one just has Z-axis down. You press it once, and I think it goes 10 millimeters. It is pretty quick, though. It does go down pretty quick. So that's good, at least. So at least we have the ability to have speed. Now, the million-dollar question is, I can't really see the lead screws on this to tell what's what, which is not necessarily bad because that'll have the ability to not get resin on it. So, but there's our heater in the back there, as well as our carbon filtration system. There's our ginormous build plate. There is our refill system with the little refill plug. And then I'm not sure this one doesn't work either, this power. I don't know why. Maybe it's disconnected. Maybe it's just there for looks. I really don't care. Most of the time I have these printers on 24/7. So laser always on. Gotcha. What's up, Phantom? What streaming service am I showing a close-up on? Literally every other one. Because TikTok, I'm limited to here. Sorry. So if you're on YouTube, you're on Twitch, you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, just look up Akuma Mods on any one of those, and yeah, you'll see the close up. They said it's a pause resume function. Okay. I mean, that does make sense because you're turning off the layer. So it's like it is a pause feature essentially. So. Okay. I'm alone on Facebook. Hey, everybody is. It's Facebook. Either way. All right. So, again, I was going to try and slice a file. So maybe we'll, let's move this over. And let's do some browsing on here. Because I'm curious to know what type of file system this uses. Okay, so they said they do have some test printing, which that's great. I mean, do you guys want me to do a test print, or would you want me to just do something right out of the box? Maybe we'll choose something kind of small. Because here's the thing. We can use their resin.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Google's tripping out. We can use their resin because the other thing is I also want to try and use regular resin with this. Because I really don't think it's going to be that much of a difference. Now, they say it is, but I don't believe that because they use the same wavelength. Now, in terms of slowness, that's going to be determined on the machine itself, which, again, we can always hype up the machine. So essentially, we have faster cure times with faster printing, faster lasering, essentially. I think I can adjust that, but either way. What do you guys think? You guys want to see a test print going? Should I just throw some resin in there and call it a day? Check out the auto refill system. See if it overflows. Basically, if I use the auto refill system, I want it to refill a bottle of resin, and that's it. So you need to buy specific resin for this machine? Technically, yes, but no. So you can utilize regular 405 NM resin, which is basically any resin that you guys may have seen above my head. I have about 100 different bottles of resin up there, maybe even more at this point, that I use for various projects. And you can use the resin in this machine, but it will make it much slower because of just the way that I think the viscosity of the resin is designed. I don't know if it needs a thicker resin or if it needs a lighter resin. I don't really know. Judging by this, it might need a lighter resin. I don't know. So, they already sell this resin with their MSLA line of machines, so pretty sure it's regular resin. Use Soraya Blue. I actually do not have Soraya Blue. I have something far better than Soraya Blue, or at least I think I still have some, which is the 3DRS Hard or the 3DRS Fast. No, they somewhere mentioned that it works with third-party resin. Yes, it does. So let's see. So let's just kind of chat a little bit about what somebody said in the chat, actually. So there was someone that said they already sell this resin with their MSLA line of machine, so pretty sure it's regular resin. You're partially right. So this is specifically developed for SLA printing. Now I can use this on an MSLA, no problem, but the vice versa, it's a little bit slower. Now with that being said, that's one of the things that I wanted to touch on that I said I'd get to later on in the stream, and here we are. So while the name Emake3d is new in the community, it is not new to me. I have known who Emake was for quite some time,
And I swear that they were under a different brand name. If I'm not mistaken, it was a different name a year or so ago. So, as you guys know, that I mentioned about this spatula specifically. And again, I know what you're going to say. Well, that's just a spatula. Anybody can utilize it. Yes, but it literally has the same exact cut, so much to the point that these are laser cut. They have the same burn mark in the same area as the other spatula that I have. Okay. So anyway, this company makes printers for another, at least known to me, company here in the United States. And some of you guys may or may not have heard of them or know who they are. They've been kind of fizzled away lately with all the newer technology that's coming up. But Emake3d is Emake3d. Now, it's actually vice versa, but essentially, Epax is a U.S.-based company. I believe they're in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. And they make some fairly good printers. The X series, specifically, is a fantastic series of printers. Now, they do have their E series, which I think is a far drop from what they used to be, in my own opinion. But I've never had my hands on an X series to compare it. But the E10 that I had was just kind of so-so. I wasn't very impressed with it. But everybody I know that has an X series absolutely loves it. And the funny thing is if you go on their website, Epax3d, and you look at some of their printers, well, they look very similar to this, at least they're large model ones. And so while they're MSLA, they are the same company. And the easy way to know is if you went on Alibaba and you looked up Emake3d, you would clearly see that they actually make printers for Epax. But not only do they make printers for Epax, at least they made one printer that I'm aware of for Uniz, U-N-I-Z. I forget the specific model. I think it's the UBEE. And that printer is designed by Emake. So they do have a history of making 3D printers in the marketplace. So they do have a claim, so to speak, in China of quality machines in terms of what I think for resin printers. So if anybody's worried about the name Emake being very shady, I can tell you that that's probably far from the truth. Now, in terms of this project, that might be a different story, but it's the first Kickstarter for them. And again, going back to the whole Kickstarter, you are a known company, but you're not really known out there to a lot. You're known out there more to the business side than you are the consumer side. So technically, I guess you're in the right for doing a Kickstarter, but still, Kickstarters are meant for someone like me who has no company affiliation, no printers out there, no resins, no nothing. And I go ahead and I start making a resin printer for the market. That's essentially what Kickstarter is actually meant for. And unfortunately, nowadays, a lot of companies end up abusing that as a marketing tool. And it works very well, unfortunately. And I kind of have a 50-50 split on it because I see what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. But I also hate it because Kickstarter has burned so many people in the past, specifically the 3D printing community. So I'm not a big fan of it. I am always very, very wary of backing anything on Kickstarter. So I'm just throwing this out there right now. I can never tell you to back this on Kickstarter. I will just tell you my experiences with the machine and let you decide whether or not you would like to back this project or not. But I will tell you right now, for one thing for certain, like I said, this company, at least their name, is a name that I know very, very well in the community. Again, a lot of people may not know it, but again, I kind of dive into information a little too much than most people do. So yeah, with that being said, at least the company name is good and golden. So you don't have to at least worry about it being super shady in terms of the company part. But again, with the whole Kickstarter thing, that's always a shady thing, in my opinion. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Let's go back to to everything chat wise. So use the better one. That would be cool. Did your machine come with standard laser or upgraded laser? I believe it came with the standard laser. I was not informed that the upgraded laser was available. However, I would like to purchase one down the line if that does come available. Hopefully they send it to me because, again, I am the only person to do a review on this that I have paid for this printer. Again, I understand it sounds like I'm being bratty about it, and I definitely am, 100%. But it still kind of ticks me off that I'm the only person that had to pay for this. But either way, I digress. Not really. Let's see. 3D Systems SLA resin is also interesting. Curious to know if it will handle industrial resins like Cavestro cell, which I use at work. If it is designed for SLA, it should work with that, and that's what separates MSLA from SLA. Is the fact that the properties that you can use in the resins are way better with SLA because of the way that the bonding process works. Like you can actually use and make car parts for this with some pretty nice resins, and it will be working robustly and, you know, provide you with great results all around. So yeah, that's definitely one of the differences between SLA and MSLA. Let's see. I also own a 3510 HD. Ooh. But it's also expensive. Yeah, that's like a $30,000 machine, isn't it? 3510, right? That's the smaller one. That's the stand-up one, I think. That's why we're looking at the Emake3d. Gotcha. Agree. Kickstarter is like a product testing platform for those big companies. Yes, and it's been kind of a consistent thing. Yeah. 200,000. 200,000. Oh, okay. No, I'm not streaming only on TikTok. I am streaming everywhere. I'm leaning towards canceling my pledge. Well, hopefully I can maybe keep you there, but I can't tell you to cancel it or not cancel it. That's completely up to you. I'm just going to provide as much content as I possibly can for everybody else here to basically make it a better decision for them. And again, I'm still miffed that I'm the only person that had to pay for this. I gotta stop saying that because I'm sounding like an asshole now. Anyway, you're also the only person to do a live unboxing and one of the only opinions I trust. Well, thank you very much. I kind of strive to be different in that sense, and that's why I know my content doesn't gain the traction that everybody else's does, because I'm not going to be the person that sits here and be like, this is the best and biggest SLA machine you can buy. I'm not going to sit there and do that. I may say that and then be like, but there's a caveat. It's a pile of crap, you know, something like that. And I'll go into the detail of why it is. But as of right now, it's a pretty solid, robust machine. It is definitely an industrial style setup. And I'm not looking forward to having to adjust my printer setup here. Definitely not. So if I am going to put this on the print farm, it will probably end up going into the bottom, and we'll probably move the Mega down there as well. And the only reason why is because the printers, the smaller printers, are easier to work with when they're on a more leveled area. That doesn't really make sense. A more height level, I guess. Yeah. Whereas like the bigger machines, they're big and they usually rise up. So I can just come down here, take it off, and it'll be easier. So I think that's what we're going to do. So blink twice if you're stuck. I'm definitely not stuck. Am I going to get it out of the room? No. I got it down the stairs, so you got to understand this is my basement. So I got it down about 20 steps, give or take. I don't know. I never counted. $100,000 still. That's quite an expensive machine. But I bet the build is so. Is it SLA where it comes out of the resin? Does that make sense for that price? You're paying for
you paying for it also gives you a very valuable position considering an upfront opinion. So that is one thing that I never ever stray from, no matter what the negotiation of contract is. I will even breach a contract to make sure that I provide the correct information to everybody that I possibly can. I am not here to stray somebody away and, again, to tell them this is a great machine when it's actually a pile of crap. I'm going to tell you my trials and tribulations with the machine, and that's basically where it is. Some people may have different ones. Some people may have the same, and verify on that level. But as I always state, no matter if money changes hands, printers change hands, what it's going to be, number one thing that I always tell a company when I am doing a review of a product, no matter what happens, I will say what needs to be said, and there will be no say on your part to change that. I can maybe mix some things around, but essentially the information is still going to be there. So regardless of what's going to happen, it's going to be said. If you guys like that, then we can work together, and that's essentially where I go from there. So, but yeah, either way. Once you get some miles on this, I would like to know, money aside, this printer or the Mega to buy. Now, that is going to be the biggest question, because as of right now, the Kickstarter, like I said, I think out the door, let's call it 1,800 out the door. Okay, I think that's overshot. But 1,800 out the door if you get the early Kickstarter. Okay, whereas the Mega is about $3,000 to your door anywhere in the world, and that's pretty accurate, I'd say, nowadays, just because shipping is insane. And that's another funny thing about this whole situation is I paid essentially because shipping was $1,000. Well, yesterday I did some quick searching and going through UPS Express Delivery. Now, Express Delivery to China is like a 3-day delivery, and we all know how expensive UPS is. So I looked it up, I put in the weights, I put in the dimensions of the case and everything, and guess what? It was only like $700 to ship it. So that kind of jams the nail in a little bit harder, but whatever. 3510 is an MJP machine, 6 microns precision on all axis. That is insane. And the supports are wax and dissolve. However, it's 2K per kilogram. That's kind of like the Emake3d that I have here. Well, this Emake3d is vastly different, but who knows? Maybe I might have a different Emake3d coming. I got a phone call with Emake3d Monday, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, very interesting to see, and I would love to go out to Emake3d's factory and see their insanely fast SLA printers. In fact, they're not even SLA; they're like SLC or something like that. They have the fastest laser production machines out there, like insane, like 200 millimeters in less than an hour. Not even joking. Expensive for US and still no real amount for us in the EU. Yeah, what's up, Virgil? How's it going? I'm looking at the MK2 or this only because I have the M3 Max. Are you talking about the MK2 like Prusa MK2? What is the MK2? I don't know what that is. I got my SVO3 based on your opinion, and glad I did. Glad to hear. In fact, we got to finish up our review of the SVO4 and get that going. Oh, the GK2. GK2, phenomenal machine. If you guys are looking for probably the best entry-level printer and you have the money to spend on it, hands down, I will promote that thing till I die because it's that good. Like, literally, it's had 2 failures. One is absolutely my fault. The second one, technically my fault for not noticing it. But essentially, it was a failure because the model was actually missing pieces from it. And because it uses a fork of Prusa Slicer, it doesn't have the same NetFab integration as Prusa Slicer does. So it didn't really catch it. but it did, and I just didn't see it. I didn't think of that as like it was missing parts. I thought it was just a shadow model. So, but I ended up printing it like 8 different times, and I was losing my mind. Like, this shouldn't be doing this. What's going wrong? And then I looked at the actual model, and I was like, oh, it's physically missing parts. And then I tried fixing it, and it was like, all right, well, we're just going to remove those parts. And I was like, no, this is not how this works. So, anyway, don't want to be trippy, but I would love to more go into the printer, like literally close-ups, technical insight, mechanics, printing, handling, resin filling. And so is that planned today? Yeah, we could absolutely do that. Sorry, I know I'm getting a little sidetracked. Let's you know what, we're just gonna do a test print. How about that? We'll hook up a bottle of resin, and then we'll get it to auto refill. I know there's an adjustment screw on the refill system, so that way it doesn't go like super high. But either way, I'm probably only going to have like 1 kilogram of resin in there at a time. So I also have a Carbon M1 at work. Whoa, that is an insane machine. It's a piece to use on a daily basis. The thing needs Carbon team to be here almost a week. I thought the Carbon M1 was like a really cool machine. Is a good in between. All right. The one behind you, what was your opinion on the SVO4? So I don't really have a true opinion right now. We haven't really printed too much with it. The first print was kind of wonky. It had some layer shifting. So we adjusted the belt, and the belt adjustment is trippy. Yeah, we'll get to that at some point. I need to release at least 3 more reviews. So we'll probably do the Nova 3D next, the SVO4 after that, then the Mighty 8K, and then the Saturn 2. And I think that's pretty much it. And then we'll do a follow-up on the Emake. My plan is to try and get the actual review out before the end of the Kickstarter, like probably like a couple days before. So I'm sorry for the last minute, everybody, but that's kind of how it's going to be, just because time crunch and everything. So I watched your unboxing. Yeah, that was a while ago. It's literally sitting right around the corner, and I haven't touched it because anything that I needed printed, I've been printing on the Viper. I haven't really need anything that's dual extrusion. So without further ado, let's should we do full screen on this? On the yeah, you know what, screw it. We'll do full screen on the ready for the close-up, Mr. DeVille. Let's pull this in. There we go. Then we'll turn you off. There we go. All right. Hopefully it'll let me print. I need a stand of some sort. I need something to hold this. Thanks, Wash Bucket. You come in handy. Zoop. Zoopity-doo-dah, zoopity-day. Does TikTok want to get up close and personal with the printer? It's on them. You should have been sent this machine a month ago. I agree. I should have been one of the first when they first asked me, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. So, all right, let's go ahead and get our resin set up here. And I'm gonna take out my ridiculous resin mixing machine, so you guys can all see, you know, how I mix resin. Yeah, this is a 4-inch PVC pipe that's open-ended, but it's tall enough. So basically, we're going to take this, put it in upside down, and then we're just going to spin it. Oh, the screw's loose on it. All right, I think that's good enough. And the great thing about doing it that way is that you get less bubbles. so happy with that spatula. I'll back it for that spatula alone. No, I'm just joking. It's like I'm opening a safe. But that's kind of cool. I do have like a resin cabinet. Maybe we can make some cool shelves or something. We'll throw it in Tinkercad in 8K. Of 2 bed, only 4 hours sleep left. Oh god. Let's see here. No protective screen protector on the FET. No, there is no protective screen protector. I looked for that already. So one of the downfalls of this resin filling system is you are limited to this type of bottle of resin. So an adapter will need to be made to basically utilize other types of resin. Now, let's see. Turn that on. Okay. And there's the resin going in. So the resin fill works. We have our heater. Maybe I'll set my heater up a little bit more. Set. It's going to take forever. You know, let's throw in. Should we throw in another bottle of resin and call it a day? I wonder how much this vat actually holds. So, for those who do or do not know, the Frozen Sonic Mega 8K that holds it holds pretty much 2 kilograms of resin in the vat. Even though it says that it maxes out at 175, you could fit 2 kilograms in it. So. And for any of you guys that are out there, just letting you know that I will be at the Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest coming up this next month in April. It is the 22nd of April and the 23rd of April. And it is in Loveland, Colorado. So we will, I'll be there as well as quite a lot of other people will be there as well. So, yeah, this is taking forever. So that's a kilogram of resin, and it looks hysterical in it. It's very similar to the Mega 8K. I'd love to compare the vat size of this. But I think one of the things that everybody's going to be excited for is the fact that it's got a solid build plate, unlike the Mega, where the Mega has a perforated build plate. So we're basically going to let this fill up. And let's see what prints. So we have Small Dragon, Tail Long, an Engine, or an SLA Simple Instruction. No, that's the manual. So should we do Tail Long, Small Dragon, or the Engine? Which one should we do? My birthday weekend in Colorado? Well, thanks for making the trip for me. Absolutely. I'll be out there, bud. Loveland, Colorado. We got 1 for Engine, 2 for Engine. Oh, I'm like, what the hell is that? Engine, 3 for Engine, 4 for Engine. All right, I guess Engine it is. What's up, Wandering? How's it going? All right, so Engine it is. So let's go ahead and start printing. Now, I'm not going to leave you guys hanging here while it prints this. Unless you guys really want me to, but that's going to be a very long live stream. This could probably hold like 3 kilograms of resin, this vat, I would guess. That's good. That's good. Everything's good. So it looks like it does have leveling screws on it, but normally we don't have to level printers. At least I've never really had to level a printer out of the box. So, some engineering parts. If you guys have files that you'd like me to print, send them my way. I will absolutely print some because I do have prototyping files, but I can't show them off. Per my NDA agreements with the companies that I work with, I can't do any of that, and it's unfortunate because that's where I do a lot of printing with. But when it comes to like doing the review, I got to print a lot of knickknacks. So I do have planning on. So I do have a part that I can print, actually, that is an engineering part. Now, I can ask the person if it's okay to print that, because he has been asking me to print it, and I have to use some really high heat temp resin, the Soraya what is it? It's Fast White, which has a temperature rating of 220 degrees Celsius. So it's for a car part, and I would love to see how it works on this printer. So let's see. We have 4,500 layers of printing to do. Probably should adjust the settings. So that's one thing I'm not digging, is I can't adjust the settings on the fly. Like, let's say I accidentally slice something that is completely wrong. I want to be able to slice it and then change the settings on the fly. That's one thing that's different with this than an MSLA. So I can't change anything once it's printing. Not the end of the world, because usually I'm a click and print type guy, but still. But yeah, we'll let that print. I'm going to slide this over so you guys can see a little bit better. All right, let's take a look at chat here. Well, I hope it is an engine like we think, and not an organically modeled steampunk engine figure. Yeah, so looking at it, it looks like an engine. So here. So if you kind of see the layout of it, it looks like an engine. So I'm hoping that it is, because that'd be very interesting, because that's, funny enough, one of the models that I was trying to print that I was just talking about on the GK2 that kept failing on me was an engine, actually. It was a model scale engine of like 124 scale model or something like that. And it kept failing on me, and I couldn't figure out why. And yeah, turns out that it was that. So I haven't seen it lift yet, which concerns me. I hope it's printing. We'll let it run for a little bit and see. Either way, give me an email, but they are NDA. So here, I'll put my email address on the screen here. And if you guys want to email me, go ahead and email me some stuff. Now, if it's parts, no, I don't want it like that. We'll just do standard. There we go. Show. Oh, what the hell? Hold on. I'm a little bit special. There we go. So there, if you guys would like to email me stuff to print, I will go ahead and do that. So, is the sound being filtered? No, it is not. Do we know if the new mini fridge works yet? Still on layer 1. Release the switch. So what does that switch do then? I'm very curious. Now I got to look at the instruction manual and see what that switch is. I thought it was a power switch, but it's not. Okay, anyway, well, I hope it is an engine like we think it is and not an organically modeled steampunk engine figure. No, it looks like an engine to me. Continue. There we go. Now it's wait. I'm waiting. I'm thinking. So we definitely have to learn how to work this machine because it is definitely way different. I can send you a print in place, no support working bearing. Ooh, that would be awesome to see. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be very excited for on this printer specifically is things like that where MSLA will work to an extent, but like SLA has a far better tolerance than MSLA. So what I mean by that is like, okay, think of the telescoping lightsaber or swords or whatever. I can print that on a resin printer, but it takes a little bit of work to fiddle with it and get it running again. Sorry. And so it does work. And I have printed a telescoping lightsaber, or I'm sorry, it was a sword on a resin printer before. But again, it's very hard to do that with MSLA because with MSLA, it's a solid image. With SLA, it literally creates the image. So it's really cool. It's like you're drawing, essentially. So that's really the big differences between it. And because it is a laser system, it actually burns the layers together. So one thing that a lot of people don't understand is, the cheaper the resin, yeah, it works and everything. But the higher end the resin, you'll understand that the properties are vastly greater than the cheaper resins because you can do different bonding processes with higher end resins. There's a lot of resins out there that I've worked with where if you cure it in a heated chamber, it bonds it tenfold. Like it makes it like rock solid. It's really insane. The stuff that you can get out of it. And I have some prototype type stuff up there that I can probably use on this machine, which would be very interesting. But I have some peak resin right here. But it's for the Emake3d. So anyway, let's see. Let's go back to chat here. Can you show your washing curing station you are going to use with this setup? The same wash and cure setup I use with everything. And that is the Anycubic wash and cure. Yes, that is the Emake3d. That is about a $6,000 machine right there. Yeah, don't worry about it. We do have a semi-failed print, but it printed, so it's a custom resin, so it's not even their resin. It's Nova 3D Clear, so either way. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, something popped up on the touchscreen. Yeah, we're all good. The switch is a pause resume. I guess so. I can send you some injectable medical devices that require precision to work with in place, plastic spring, etc. Real parts used in vaccination. I'm down. I'm down to print anything that you guys want. That's essentially why I got this unit, because there's so many people that have so many questions. and I want to try and fulfill that many questions as I possibly can. The only thing I ask for is if you guys like it, go ahead and follow. If you don't follow. It's simple as that. I don't care. This is not my full-time job. This is what I do for snits and googles. So, let's see. The big SLA light source is 355 Newton meter laser. This one is 405. Yes. So, from what I was told, this is a different type of SLA setup, whereas normally an SLA is 355 Newton meter NM. I keep saying Newton meters. It's nanometers or Newton meters. I can never remember. That. Yeah, so either way, yeah, it's different bonding processes. So that's why you could probably get away with third-party resins on this. Ledla, it has more to do with MJCM2. E equals MC squared. There, I'm smart now. Dang it, I'm a day off of pi. Nope, different wavelength means different resins. Yes, that's what it means. Yep. So that's why I always tell people, like, that's why I made a video, because I see so many people getting into resin printing and they're like, oh my God, I got an Anycubic printer and Anycubic's out of their resin. Well, you don't need to use Anycubic resin. You can use Elegoo. You can use Epax, 3DRS, Zero, anything you can name off of the top of your head, as long as it says something along the lines of LCD resin or 405 NM on the bottle. So, what's the best tips you can give for cleaning up after a failed print? So one of the things that I'm going to talk very, very heavily about with Emake3d is this little fantastic tool right here, and I'm gonna slim this down a little bit so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna bring up the camera. So this little nifty tool is essentially a miniature build plate. So this is a failure tool, I guess you can call it, which is the coolest thing I never thought that I could need. But I'm totally going to ask them if I can keep this. Like, I'm probably not going to keep the Emake3d. If they let me, I'd be astonished. But I'll be honest, I have really no need for it. It requires some really insane resins, and it is proprietary to all hell, so I don't really have a real-life use for it. Maybe at some times, but not enough to really pay for itself or to keep it. But this thing's really, really cool, because essentially it's a very simple model, and it's essentially a build plate. And so you just stick it down at the back of the build plate, and it's wide enough to where it covers just enough of the corner of the screen as well as the back of the vat. And you just stick it down there and you do a exposure on your screen, and it exposes an entire layer of resin and any failed prints that are in there, and you just pull this thing up. Now, before this, I used to just use failed prints or supports or whatever I had on hand. I would utilize that. Or if I didn't have anything, well, then I just expose a sheet and kind of work my way around it and try and get it up. But this is a game changer, and I really think that they have a huge market on it, because this could sell for a lot. Like, if you sold this for $35 and it cost you $5 to make, that is totally worth every penny. So I think a lot of people would absolutely love that. But yeah, that's probably the easiest way to take care of a failure is basically grab some old supports, grab an old failed print, or even a print that you don't care about that's, destroyed, whatever it is, something that can grab a mass of a corner, put it into the corner at the edge of the LCD screen, and then hit the exposure button on your LCD, your touchscreen LCD, and then you pull up just a whole exposed layer, and your failed prints and everything should come up with it. Now, sometimes I've had to do it a couple times with some of the printers, like the M3 Max. I just had some weird failures where, like, I pull it up and then there's still a piece there. So let it settle for, another 10 minutes or so, and then come back and do it again, and it should be fine. But that's the easiest way to remove a failed print, in my opinion.
So what are we at? We're at layer 4. Oh my God, this is going to take forever. So, and it looks like they fixed the resin fill. Let's see how much. Yeah, so we have probably 3/4 of a bottle of resin in there, and it's already at its max. So I like that. That's already adjusted. We don't have to do anything. So it's right at the fill area, right? Because that's not filling anymore. Nope. We are all good. Cool. Sorry, TikTok. I've been slacking on you. Had to leave for a bit, just checking back in. Still here, unfortunately. Whoa, can we buy those somewhere? I don't know, but I'm going to try and get them available. I guess I can use build plates from smaller printers. You can, but it's a little more, it's just more cumbersome to work with. This is really, really cool. If I can find somebody to design something like this, which this is a simple machine design. It's just the fact that how much is it going to cost to design this? Because we can even make this a little bit better. We can have like some edging on this, because the one downside of this is all nice and black and painted, but I see that as a slip problem. Whereas we can maybe have like this divoted in here, so where it's more like a rook piece where you're just putting it down and you can actually grip on the inside of it and pull it up. So I think there's room for improvement on it, but it's really cool thing to have. So where are you going to put that new monster? I'm going to try and put it where the M3 Max and the Mini is, but we shall see. I have to move my battery back up if that's the case. Actually, I might move it down to the bottom. Most likely, both the Mega and the Emake are going to go down to the bottom. And yes, we will have to get rid of some of these printers because I'm out of room already. And this thing's going to, it literally takes up 2 printer spaces, if not just a little bit more. So it takes up quite a bit. Let's see. Nope, different wavelengths means different power. So, yes. What is, yeah, I already answered that. Shame you are in the US because I could send you some prototype polycarbonate resins from Bassif. Ooh, you know what? I actually have some resins from Bassif somewhere, but they're frozen collaborations. I have somewhere back here. I do, but I do have some really, really high-end resins from Emake3d. Like I said, I have Peak. And if we really want to go crazy with something, I have Peak resin. Yes, PEEK. To test this machine with. Evening, what's up, Splinting Moon? That's too kind. That tool kind of reminds me of an espresso tamper. There you go. That's what that reminded me of. I couldn't think of what it reminded me of. Now I have to try and figure this out. Let's see. Wonder if we can use something like that. I'm just curious. Because it's essentially the same thing. It literally is the same thing. But that is better. Like, if you got like a stainless steel one that you can clean up. Oh, there we go. Amazon. Boom. How much is this? We're totally going to test this insane theory out. Totally. Espresso tamper. Who said that? Rerona. Get a bigger room? Yeah, I definitely need a bigger room. You gonna pay for it? It would be awesome to have my own studio, but yeah, that's not in the cards in any way, shape, or form at any point in time right now. At that point, I'd rather just buy a house and get out of my townhouse and just make myself a room.
So, great observation. Maybe worth trying one for taking the resin out. Absolutely. So I'm definitely going to screenshot that so I can give credit where credit is due on that. If you're okay with that, Rerona. 3D scan it. I could 3D scan it. I do have a scanner. Let's see. Or add a handle. Yeah, I have ideas now. I can design one pretty easily. Is that a metal plate on the bottom mat? Yeah, so essentially this is like a bed, like a printing bed that they basically, it's a chunk of metal that they just CNC'd out, and that's all it is. It's very heavy. Probably weighs a good pound. So wavelength and power are some totally different physical units. The correlate to some extent here, but a 405 nm resin does not necessarily polymerize when shot it with 355 nm. Oh, I know this very well because the UV cure lights. So when I do resin welding, this I think shoots at 365. I can't tell anymore because it's rubbed off, but I'm pretty sure this is 365, and it burns the hell out of that resin in an instant. If it's too thick. So you got to be real careful with it because it is a very concentrated light, and it seems to be more powerful, which I never really looked up to see if that's the case. Why is this out of focus? Focus. $8 on Amazon. Yep. Well, either way, like I said, 3D resin solutions will be working directly with this specific printer to design a new style of resin for everybody. I don't know if they ship worldwide, but at least here for America, I know 100% that they make some very, very nice resins. I've used their Hero. I've used their 3DRS Fast, their 3DRS Hard, which are both slightly better than Soraya Blue. And what else have I used? Oh, I have their 8K resin, which I'm currently using right now, which is really, really cool because they sell them in these really cool bags. And you could actually get points for recycling these bags, which is even cooler. So gives you more of a incentive to recycle, because recycling bottles it never happens. So I don't know anybody that takes resin bottles. If I did, I would just send them their way. Just wanted to make people pay attention on that. Gotcha. Absolutely, they make ABS type resin. So, and yes and no. So here, the resin that we're using right now for this print is ABS-like resin. So it has similar properties to ABS, but it is not quite like ABS. So when we talk about resins versus filaments, basically you're going to take a step above whatever the next thing is in filament, and that will be your comparable resin. So for filament, it goes PLA, PETG, ABS, nylon, right? Just running off the basic four, okay? So for PLA, I mean, pretty much ABS-like resin is PLA, okay? But it does have a better heat property. So it's kind of like an in-between of PLA and PETG. So I would say it's more of a PETG out of anything in terms of property wise and everything. And then you have ABS, which is very, very strong, has some shrinkage on it, but can withstand a lot of stuff. That is essentially like nylon resin. At least I think that's how I set it up. But anyway, Yeah, that's essentially what it is nylon resin is comparable to ABS filament. Then you have engineering resins, which that I can't really even touch on one specific thing because there's literally a vast array of engineering resins. And the thing that you have to learn about resins is you give one thing, you take one. So if you want something that is very strong, very tough, well then you lose the flexibility, you lose the dimensional accuracy of it because it shrinks. So if you want something that has a little bit more flexibility in it, then you lose like temperature range. So each and every resin has its own specific application. So in terms of FDM versus resin, FDM is more of a general range that you can utilize products for, whereas resin is more specific to what you're looking for. And that's why, like, you see it used in rapid prototyping for, designing parts, because on top of that, resin is usually twice as fast as any FDM printer. Like, I can print a Cinderwing Dragon in about 2 hours at 100% infill, solid Dragon in 2.5 hours. There's no 3D printer that can be. So I'm talking about the Mega here, which is a $3,000 machine. So any $3,000 machine or below, there's no way that any machine can do that and maintain the same type of quality that a resin printer can. So, there are some advantages and disadvantages. So, like, for me, if I'm designing parts, like, I like to have stuff hanging on the wall, because the whole out of sight, out of mind thing with ADHD, it's a killer. So I tend to have everything in sight so I know where everything is and I'm not searching around. And I don't have a mess in a drawer. So I usually print that stuff in PLA because it's stuff that it's going to be used, abused, and it's not something that I need to hold up for years and years on end, even though it does. And it's super cheap. Now, I can probably print them in PETG and they'll last even longer, but it's not needed. PLA does its job, and that's essentially where we leave it at. So, all right. I'll have to find time, but definitely wouldn't be too difficult. Gotta run. Y'all have a good night. All right, Wandering, you have a good one. What's up, Jerry? How's it going? So we are checking out the Emake3d, the Galaxy 1 it is called. And right now we are doing a test print. It is an engine, and we are now on layer 18. Jeez, I should get my glasses, shouldn't I? Oh, just in time. Hold on, let me get my glasses so I can see here. Oh, Jesus. Oh, there we go. Now I can see things perfectly fine. Yes, it does look like a microwave. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so this was printed at, I think this was like 250% or 250 millimeters, which is insanely scaled up, and it just fits my head, but obviously it doesn't fit me. But it was too good not to print it. And this was printed on the Uniformation GK1, actually. And it printed pretty good. We printed it in, this was Emake 3D Crystal Clear. And as you can see, it still remains clear. And we just hit it with a high gloss coat. And that was it. We didn't sand it or nothing. But everybody loves my glasses. They're the greatest. Let me tell you. They're fantastic. So, yeah, so I think we're going to let this roll for another couple more minutes. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging, but let's talk a little bit about the machine, shall we? Let's, I know for you guys on TikTok, you're not really going to see this, but we're going to go into some details about this. So, All right. So let's go ahead and put baby in the corner. All right. Hi, Edna. All right. So as of right now, it is available on Kickstarter. And one of the things that I wanted to touch base on was the similarities to the Emake3d and the Unis uh, UB or whatever it is. So this is essentially the Una's UB resin printer. And this is the Epax E10. Along with these are the X10 and the X13 or whatever it is. So these are their bigger printers and then their even bigger printer. So, and now this is their large size printer. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. And it does say printing speed up to 50 millimeters with a pixel size of 5760 by 3240, which is quite insane for its screen size. So large size, long service. That's what I get for reading two things at once. Constant temperature system, yeah, which is set a little too high right out of the box. Touchscreen, automatic feeding, closed looped motor, which I don't really think that's a great thing to have on a resin printer, but I don't know. I don't really know too much about it, so maybe it is. Anyway, yeah, so let's see. Application. It is widely used in structural parts, dental molding, figures, shoe mold, and special tool printing. It supports mass production and high praised. Yeah, sure. So our net weight is 57 kilograms. So the packaging that I got said all said and done was going to be 65 kilograms of weight, which is roughly around 150. I'm pretty sure they did that just to keep it within the weight range for normal shipping. The X and Y resolution is 25 UM. The laser light spot is 80 UM. Power is 230 UW. The machine dimensions entirety is 700 by 432 by 803. That is a big, big chunky boy. Printing layers can go from 0.025 to essentially 0.2 millimeter, which is a 2 millimeter nozzle for those who FDM print. Temperature control, that's great. Printing speed up to 50 millimeters an hour, which that doesn't seem like a lot. I'm gonna mess with some things and see if we can try and break it. But yeah, we're gonna definitely try and surpass that. I think we can. File format uses STL, OBJ, and SLC. So that's very good to know, which I probably should have looked into beforehand because I probably could have sliced a file right off the bat. Total power is 320 watts. It utilizes an SD card and has a 7-inch touchscreen. And again, here is the similar printers to the Epax. So I just wanted to show you really quick here. Let's go to Epax3d. And I just wanted to show you the similarity. So Epax3d is based out of Morrisville, North Carolina. And here is their printers, 3D printers. Let's go to the E-Series. My. That looks very, very similar to a printer we just saw. Doesn't it? Let's go back here. Oh, wow. That looks really, really similar. Oh, wait, that build plate, it looks identical to an Epax3d build plate. Who would have thunk? But yeah, essentially it's the same thing. They might have changed some small things here and there. It's typical for any company to do that type of stuff. So there's their E-Series. Now, the thing that's really going to get people is their X-Series. That's the one that really is just like, yeah, this is them. So here's their X-Series, which is the X10, the X133, which is a 13.3, and their X156, which is a 15.6. And then they also have their 6.6. Okay, so you see these type of setups and everything and how it is and how it looks here. Let's look at the 15.6 one. We'll look at the big one. All right, so
really interesting looking. Okay, that's how the build plate looks. Let's go and click on the 15.6 inch 3D printer. And you will notice that it's pretty much the same. Now, they do have some slight differences here and there. Again, every manufacturer does that, but very similar build setups. Oh, look, same type of setup, different colors, same type of machine. Theirs is more flat, which is more like their regular printers. So here, this one would actually be better a comparative. They're 13.3. So there's their 13.3, and there's their 13.6. So essentially, it's the same type of printer. They just changed the doors on it. But the dead giveaway was the E series. Now, I haven't looked at their dental printer, so let's take a look at those really quick and just see the differences between that. So let's see. I don't really see any dental printers here. That might be something that they just don't really sell to the public, which that's understandable. We might have to head over to Alibaba, but either way. And then the resin, again, is made by Gemhe, which, there you go. There's your Epax resins. Same resin that Anycubic uses, same resin that any Elegoo uses. So the difference is price. Really, you're paying for contract stuff. So like the Uniformation GK2, I would consider that a dental industrial printer, and it just works. It's literally a click and print resin printer. It is unmatched by any of my resin printers here, even my Frozen Sonic Mega, which is an unstoppable beast. It is fantastic, but they do come with a higher price tag because, well, they're built with quality parts. And the problem is that's not always for the consumer. The consumer always wants the cheapest and thing that works. And that's why the E and X series. Well, the X series was actually their staple. And then the E series came out and they were like, okay, well, we can make this even cheaper. So, but yeah, essentially what we're using ABS like resin. So let's see, ABS, the water washable, the worst resin ever to be made. High precision engineering resins. So you see there, it's the same thing with like precision and engineering resins versus regular resins. There are differences. There's different applications for it. You just have to look into it and figure out if that's something you're looking for, really. So, but either way, let's go back to this. Let's go back to the machine we're actually talking about. Build volume-wise, it is ginormous. So just for reference, the Mega is quite large, and I can print a good amount on that build plate. And that is 330 by 185 by 400. This is 400 by 200 by 400. That is insane. So, yeah, let's go to the Kickstarter. Here. So it looks like they have raised a couple more funds. Last time I looked at it, it was at 910,000. So now they're at 609 backers. All right, so we have the large build volume, permanent leveling, which is awesome. I really, you don't really have to ever level a resin printer after you do it the first time, unless you have an Elegoo or a pop socket. Those always have issues, so that's why I kind of stay away from them. And they are going to upgrade to a USB connection, which I think is far superior than a micro SD card. But hey, you know, they're just prototyping stuff right now. High resolution and high accuracy, layer thickness of 25 to 200 UM with a accuracy of 25 UM.
printing gallery. So this is one of the later prints from Joel. Looks kind of cool. We will definitely have to try and get some really detailed pictures. I am terrible with taking pictures, so my apologies for that right off the bat. But yeah, we'll try and get this all situated. So here's information about the laser module. So essentially, it's just like a DLP section where it's on a ball screw roller system, and it goes back and forth, and it projects the beam of light onto a spinning mirror. And this is one of the things, like here it shows locking systems in it and dual locking systems on it. So I guess they did away with that. That's right. We're building automatic resin feeding, the well design. So either way, we can design one. It's not the end of the world. I just don't know why they put it on there. So super simple to set this temperature. You literally press set. This little button turns red, and then you can move it up or down. This is your set temperature, and this is your actual temperature. Built-in air purifier, which they did update it. So I think I have the updated version, if I'm not mistaken now. I'll have to take a look. Easy to use 7-inch touchscreen. It is. I always wanted to mess with dentist printer. ABS-like resin is awesome. Codec sounds. Or am I going crazy? No, I think you're going crazy. Multi-software support. So here's here's a funny thing. So I guess it can use Lychee, but it's funny that they even have Lychee in here because everybody's like, oh my God, they utilize Lychee. Well, I reached out to Lychee and they were like, yeah, I've never heard of that printer. And I'm like, how is that possible? You guys have promos going on your slicer. And he's like, oh yeah, that's just for marketing, but we've not worked with them on doing printer stuff. And I'm like, okay. So the testers were having issues with the auto feed having the bottles upside down. Ah, gotcha. So that's why they changed it. Test video, yeah, we don't need to do that. Thanos printing demo. Anti-aliasing. So this one is, I just laugh at every time I see it. So this shows the difference between off anti-aliasing and on anti-aliasing. Now, if you look at this and you know what you're looking at, essentially all they did was just take this image and turn it just ever so slightly to a different angle. And essentially, this is the same oval shapes here than it is there. But hey, it is what it is. What's in the box? Printing platform, resin vat, power cable, card reader, resin vat knob, 6 pieces, which is nice. They give you extra ones because you know you're going to lose those. A palette, which it's kind of useless, but it is a nice touch. It's nice to have a place where you can put your tools. I can see that. For me, I personally use the Wham Bam Slat Mat XL. That is probably a really good investment, in my opinion, for working with stuff. You have your pliers, your gloves, your SD card, screws, hex bolts, a rubber spatula. It's a plastic spatula, but that's all right. Paper funnel and model shovel. Sure. Our volume of the printer is 700 by 432 by 803. Big guy. Vat size is 456 by 256 by 40. That's insane. Vat volume is 3 liters it can hold. That's wow. Wow. All right. So if you guys are interested in this, and I really wish that I had like some sort of an affiliate link, but I can't really endorse it, unfortunately, but would be nice to do that. Maybe after the fact. So you could essentially get 2 of these for the price of 1 mega, which is insane. But again, you are kind of limited to the specific SLA resins. Again, you can use regular resins, but
So right now, the pledging, the lowest that you can pledge for is $12.99, and that will get you a delivery of a machine by May 2023, that's pretty soon. This is March, April, and May, 2 months. That's pretty astounding. But again, this is not like just some fly-by-night manufacturer. They've worked with companies before. They produce products for companies. So that's pretty good deal for it. Again, let you guys decide. I would just say hold off a little bit. And then they also have the upgraded laser module from 230, I think it is, to 350. Don't know how much that's going to improve anything, but hey. So if you are going to back this, I do highly suggest getting Resin, the release film. That will help out tremendously because it is a different type of release film. So here it says 05/2023 it starts shipping, and 06/2023 is the laser module is going to start shipping. Hey, look, there's a 6-inch EPAX. Actually, that's a 6-inch. Sorry. That's the OG EPAX X6, I think it's called. So, but that's pretty much it for everything. So, Jesus, why are people... Oh my God, too many people. Turning you off. All right. That is interesting. I thought they have a 2D mirror set up like a Piapoli Moai. Nope. It looks like it's a 360 rotating, which is good because you won't have the burn-in effect on the mirror. So it's good, but it's bad because that means that you'll have to replace more mirrors down the road. But it'll be a much longer time to replace those mirrors. This is slower, but it explains why it is so precise on the whole build plate. Yep. Realistically, I'm not expecting the machine till June or early July. We all know how initial estimates go. Yep. As long as they are faster than Prusa. Pretty sure they are. I knew someone was going to say that. Say Prusa. Someone had to do it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not really much else I can say about it. We'll just have to wait and see the results. Now, I really don't like doing the initial prints for it because, in my opinion, it's just kind of pointless to do it because it's their sliced model. So it's going to look the best because they took the time to do all of the proper calibrations and details and setting everything in to get a very, very nice print out of it. But that's one of the things that I don't like doing because of that. Whereas if I print something of my own accord, it is something that's my own, and I will personally dial it into a specific setting if I need to. But it's the initial print that I'm going to show and say, this is what it will produce without tinkering with anything. But either way, we'll let this print and see how it goes. I haven't seen it lift up in a while, so I hope it's okay. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where we're going to leave it at. Like I said, if you guys want anything specific that we're going to print, please let me know. But I will let you know that we are going to print this specific model. Where is it? It's on Cults. So it's a model one of my followers gave me a long time ago. I printed it, but it didn't turn out all that great. So I'm going to reprint it to try and get it all set up. Britt, what's up? It is your Resin 3D printing guide, Akuma Mods, back again with a new machine, the Emake Galaxy 1, which is a SLA printer. So it uses lasers, freaking lasers. So what we're going to print on this machine after this print is this model. This is by Wicked, and it is a Gambit model, and it is insanely detailed, and I absolutely love it. And it looks like it might have a little bit of like Doc Ock stuff going on. I don't know exactly who this is. I don't think it's Doc Ock, but hey, it could be. But yeah, it is an awesome model that one of my followers sent to me, and like I said, I did print it, and it just didn't turn out right. So we're gonna print it again and see if we can get it working. But that's next on my list to print for sure. So let's see here. What kind of problems have you seen going from an FDM printed model to a resin of the same file? Problems? None. Because again, I know the differences of what I'm printing. So for a normal average everyday user, you're going to see a model that's brittle compared to an FDM that's not so brittle. But that all depends on what type of resin you're using. So if you know what type of resins you need to use, you're already set in the game. So for first time user stuff, if I were to take myself back to the first time, two major things that I would see different from FDM to resin is exposure times mean a great deal just to start off. If you are not properly exposing each and every layer at their correct times, that can result in failures, warped prints, stuff sticking to the vat, just disasters all around. And number two is just the fact that each and every resin, as I've stated before, has its own specific use. So most people just use a standard resin. Back in the day when I first started, 5 years ago it is, there wasn't really a whole slew of different types of resins. Let me rephrase that. There were, but they were insanely expensive. They were nowhere near as cheap as what they were now. 500 gram a bottle of resin was, $50 back in the day. Now that can get you like 2 kilograms of resin. Like, that's insane for the same stuff. So yeah, that's really what I see. But if you learn the three main things of resin printing, which is exposure time, print orientation, and supports, you're good as golden. Your failure rate will come way, way down. Not saying it won't be impossible. Everybody fails. Just pick yourself back up and start it all over again. It's not the end of the world. So, if Prusa made a shipping company, something would finally be slower than FedEx. Oh, I just thought about it, but is the printer silent, or is your mic just not picking it up? So it does have a slight, very, very little hum when it moves, but that's it. It does not, like when the laser's going, it is silent. So it is definitely not as loud as my Frozen Sonic Mega. But again, we're on a floor, so it is a solid piece. Now, when I get it on the plywood, that might change. We'll have to see. But as of right now, it's fairly quiet for a resin printer. I mean, resin printers in general are pretty quiet, but yeah, it's definitely more quiet than most printers, I would say. Okay. So on top of that Wicked 3D model, I'm probably going to try and dip into regular resin, just because I have a influx of so Frozen is technically like my sponsor. So most of you guys probably follow Uncle Jesse. Uncle Jesse, his sponsorship comes from Elegoo. Mine is not as, I would say, lucrative as his, but again, I'm not anybody of great importance, I would say. More behind the scenes out of anything. But Frozen has worked with me and has treated me very well. Probably the best I have been treated. So, and it was just a simple reach out that started it all back 2-3 years ago. And I am forever grateful because they make some amazing printers. Very hard to beat, in my opinion. So yeah. What models are you going to print on there? So I have the Wicked Gambit model that I'm going to print, and I either am going to buy a subscription to Loot Studio for a month. Actually, you know what? I have some models from Loot Studio. I'm just going to throw up an entire set of Loot Studio minifigs and just fill up the entire build plate. I'm going to try and print an entire collection of Loot Studios because I have the pirate ones, which I absolutely love pirate stuff. If they had an Egyptian one, I'd probably have that too. But yeah, I'll. So my main aspects are print the test print, print a file of your own that is miniatures, print a file of your own that's possibly a helmet. I have a file ready to go. I just need to see if it'll fit. So I want a singular print and go helmet. And then let's see. So we have the test, the miniatures, helmet, and then some design prototype stuff. So if I can get some to show off. So a what model? Oh, geez. It is a Wicked Gambit. You know, Gambit from X-Men. He has the bow staff and the cards. I absolutely love Gambit. He's my favorite, not Marvel character, but X-Men character. So, yeah. I'm actually getting kind of tired. Yes, I said I'm getting tired. I had a long day.
But either way, I think we're going to end the live stream here. And if you guys got any other information that you need to be known, please reach out. You can find me on pretty much any social media under the name Akuma Mods. And I'm always around to help, no matter what time of day. So I think that's pretty much where we're going to leave it at. So I thank you guys all for stopping in and watching. And just keep an eye on some more content. We'll put out as much as we possibly can with this new resin printer. So until next time, guys, happy printing.